Welcome to the Carbon Sync podcast. My name is Mark Schreiner, and I'll be your host for this episode of Carbon Sync. Today's pretty exciting because I got a new microphone. First time to try the new mic. Have to wait to hear from you, from me, how it works out. Beyond that, and besides that, it's been a pretty cool couple weeks. Just recently, the IEA, the International Energy Agency, an agency that was set up originally to protect the interests of the fossil fuel industry, recently came out with its net zero by 2050 plan. Now, what is net zero? Net zero means net zero carbon emissions by the year 2050. And that doesn't mean that there's no carbon being emitted. It means that a lot of the carbon that's being emitted today is reduced or eliminated by the use of alternative energies, by implementing smart grids, by electrifying the grid, by doing a bunch of stuff. And the carbon that is emitted, we have plans to capture it and sequester it in a variety of ways and using technologies, some of which haven't even been invented yet. But what's cool about this document is that it's a plan. Now, is it set in stone? No, it's a beginning. It's a kind of a roadmap to say, hey, this can be done, and here are the things that we're going to have to do to get there. Will there be changes? Of course. But at least there's kind of a roadmap there. And again, I'm not putting all my money behind any specific roadmap at this point, but I believe having a plan and working that plan is better than just hoping for the best, right? So that was pretty cool. I actually read through the document. There's a lot of interesting things in there. And one of the key points or the foundational principles is the electrification of our transportation system. Okay, so that means that sooner or later, we're all going to be driving electric cars. And I know what people are thinking. They're saying, well, it's never going to happen. Well, they say that about a lot of stuff. And I just did a quick look, and I'm just curious. I mean, it's amazing to me how fast things are accelerating. Percentage of U.S. electricity that was generated by wind in 2002 was 0.3%. 2010, it was 2.3%. 10 years later, it jumped up to 8.4%. So it almost tripled in 10 years. Now, I don't need to do the exponential math thing for you there, but you can see that we're on the trajectory like this. I almost said the right trajectory, but then you'd be saying like, well, what do you mean by right? Because some people are going to argue that that's not the right way to go and that wind energy kills birds and does all kinds of bad stuff. And you know what? You might have a legitimate gripe there. One thing it doesn't do is emit carbon. Well, actually that's debatable too, because in the manufacture of the rotors and the installation, etc. But once they're installed and in place, they generate quote unquote clean electricity. So in the year 2020, we have 8.4% of our electricity being generated by windmills. And I'm talking about in the US. Sorry, guys. I'm from the US and I'm in the US. So sometimes I tend to be US centric, like most good Americans. It's a joke, a little sarcasm. Solar, 2002 was just, I mean, the amount of solar electricity being generated by solar was just inconsequential. In 2010, it jumped up to 0.03%. But by 2020, it was 2.7%. So almost 3% of all the electricity being used in America was generated by solar. That's, again, this trajectory is going like this. No, it's never going to happen. Well, guess what? It is happening. Hydro remains constant at about 7%. But if you throw those three together, wind, solar, and hydro, do the back of the envelope math here, you're looking at about 18%. Wait a minute, 8.4, 10, yeah, about 18%. And then nuclear is responsible for another 19 to 20% of our electricity generation. And again, nuclear is carbon clean. It doesn't emit carbon dioxide. So if we look at that right now, we're at about 38% of our electricity is being generated in a carbon neutral or a carbon clean way. It's never going to happen. It's happening. Okay. Another thing that's happening is, I mean, this is almost comical. The number one selling car in America for the last 20 plus years has been the Ford F-150 pickup truck. And that is a symbol of American apple pie, baseball, hot dogs, all of that, everything that is, the red, white, and blue. It's the American truck. It's the epitome of the American truck. It's the iconic American truck. You are never going to electrify me. Guess what happened? Ford just announced in 2022, they're going to release the Ford F-150 4x4. That means it's a four-wheel drive. Ford F-150 4x4. It's the Ford F-150 Lightning, but it is a 4x4 that will have a 300, it's fully electric, I should say. That's the key point there. Don't forget that, Mark. With a 300-mile range, 10,000-pound towing capacity, 563 horsepower. And it's going to start at about half the price of a higher-end, Tesla. It's going to start at about $39,974. That's pretty reasonable. And on top of that, you got GM coming out saying that they're going to be all fully electric for all their passenger cars by 2031. They're going to be carbon neutral as a company by 2040. GM, the world's second largest auto manufacturer. It's never going to happen. It's happening. All right. So with that in mind, with the electrification of the grid and transportation in mind, with the electrification of the grid, electrification of transportation in mind, I'd like to point out another obvious opportunity to reduce emissions and annoyances. I'm going to talk about, I'm going to ask you first. What do you think is the largest irrigated crop in America by area? Do you think it's corn, soybeans, pistachios, or lawns? Guess what? If you guessed number 4, you win the prize. The number 1 irrigatable crop by area in the USA is the common lawn. That, big patch of green grass out there. In fact, according to NASA, 49,000 square miles in America are covered by lawns. That's about 128,000 square kilometers, by the way. Yale has estimated that people in the US use more than 600 million gallons of gas to mow their lawns every year. So where am I going with this? You guess. I don't hate lawns. I hate gas-powered, noisy, stinky, smelly lawnmowers. Okay? Why not? Here's an idea. Why not go cordless electric? It's going to be cheaper when you look at the electric cost versus the gas cost. It doesn't require you to get into your car and drive down to the gas station to fill up a spare gas can with gas and bring it home and then fill up your noisy, stinky, internal combustion, gas-powered mower. And by the way, here's another fun fact for you. When you fill up your gas-powered mower at home, you and the rest of our American people, apparently we spill over 17 million gallons of gas every year while we're filling up our lawnmowers. Hopefully not in my backyard. Anyway, if you want to cut out the gas, the oil, the emissions, and by the way, they're not the most clean machines in the world. Our cars have, the standards, but lawnmowers evidently have found a way around that. And if you just want to keep a nice, peaceful, harmonious relationship with your neighbors by not waking them up at 8 o'clock on Saturday or Sunday morning with your noisy lawnmower, if you want to avoid all that, check out a cordless electric. They're super lightweight because they have an electric motor. You can plug them in. The one I use, I plug it in, it charges in an hour, and it mows my whole yard, plus some. I don't have to ever put oil in it. There's no maintenance to it. It's just super easy, and it makes sense. And what I'm saying is, if we're going to electrify our cars, why not think about electrifying a lot of other things, like the common lawnmower? In fact, it's never going to happen. It is happening. I just went to Fred Meyer, which is a kind of department variety store here in the Pacific Northwest, and 3 out of the 4 lawnmowers they were selling were fully electric. I also then went on I went to Home Depot, and the ratios were the same. And then if you go on to Amazon, the numbers are there too. So the trend is clear. So get with it, people, and quit waking me up it's Saturday morning with your noisy your noisy gas-powered lawnmower. Use your swift, silent, environmentally friendly, clean, cordless electric mower. Now you might say, well, we got to generate that electricity somehow, and that's going to create pollution. Well, here in Washington State, for example, 30% of our electricity comes from hydroelectric, clean. The majority of the rest of it comes from gas, and it's at gas-powered plants where they capture a large percent of the emissions at the source. If you're burning gas in your car to go down to the gas station to fill up your gas can so you can come back and spill gas in your while you're filling up your gas-powered lawnmower, and then you're burning that gas in the lawnmower, which has very little emission capture technology on it, you are part of the problem. Plus, you're waking me up. Did I mention the noise? It's amazing to me how quiet and peaceful my little cordless electric mower is. And I highly recommend and encourage everybody out there to look at cordless electric, not just for lawnmowers, but pretty much all the other appliances you have in your garage. Whether that's a shrub cutter, a weed whacker, whatever you got. We've been using electric cordless power drills for years. They work. It works, people. That's pretty much all I'm going to say on this subject. But if you're watching this on YouTube or some other video channel, stay tuned because I'm going to give you a demo, a very quick demo of my cordless electric mower. And then if you are listening to this, just the audio version of the podcast, go to the description and there'll be a link there to the video if you want to see how it works. There's tons of other, examples online as well. But my demo is like 2.5 minutes long, and it just gives you an easy idea how light and easy and to operate and how quiet these things are. So again, I don't hate on lawns. I hate on gas-powered lawnmowers. And I encourage you to get with the trend. It is going to happen. And you don't have to run out and buy an electric Ford F-150, but I would encourage you to take a look at a cordless electric lawnmower. Do you get my point? Thanks everybody for listening to Carbon Sync. You have a great day. Cheers. Bye.